Hello YouTube friends and welcome to my studio. I'm Trish Crosby and today I am going to be showing you how I painted this plum blossom misty wintry painting using 4 colors. So to start off this painting, I super saturated my paper front to back. I wanted the paper to lay completely flat and not buckle on me because I'm using a lot of water. The colors that I'm using today, some of them are from my Mijello Mission Gold watercolor set. I'm using bright clear violet, burnt sienna, and Van Dyke brown. And the fourth color that I'm using is professional grade Windsor and Newton Payn'es Gray. So for the mix that I'm using here, I'm just using just a little bit of the bright clear violet to give just a subtle purple color. And most of this wash is going to be just using the Payn'es Gray. And I'm using a big mop brush to get it down on the paper. And now I'm going to use a clean paper towel to lift out the areas where I want these flowers. You could use masking fluid in this painting, but I like to do quick paintings, so I decided against it. I just used the paper towel. The paper that I'm using for today's painting is Bao Hong Artist Grade. It's 100% cotton watercolor paper, and I would advise using only 100% cotton. So at this point, I'm going to speed up this section where I'm lifting out these flowers because it's quite boring. And I would like to take this opportunity to tell all of my subscribers thank you so very much for supporting my channel. And if you're not subscribed yet, it's completely free, and you can hit the bell notification to get notified of when I upload new videos. So for these branches, I'm going to mix up some Payn'es Gray and some Van Dyke brown. And this paper is still very, very wet, so these branches are going to pretty much bleed out, which is what I want because I don't want them to be, I want them to kind of fade into the background and be kind of blurry. So this is super saturated, and I'm just going to lay in some branches really quick. Some of these branches I end up scrubbing out later because I didn't like the orientation of this branch coming up from the bottom, but you'll see that later on in this video. While this paper is still really wet, I'm going to put some water droplets down on the paper. This is clean water that I usually have 2 glasses of water on my table. One is dirty and one is clean because you never know when you need a clean paintbrush. So this is just clean water droplets, and then I'm using the water, just plain water on the paintbrush to draw in these lighter lines. I want this background to have many layers to it, many different variations of color and light. Using that Payn'es Gray and that Van Dyke brown, I'm going to add in some extra little branches all along this painting. These are going to blend into the background. Now that I have the little branches put in, I'm going with a more saturated Payn'es Gray and Van Dyke brown to put in the branch that is going to be the highlight of the painting. This is the branch that all the flowers will come from. But my paper is still really wet, so as you can tell, this is kind of bleeding out, which is what I wanted because I wanted it to kind of be blurry on the edges. So now that I have the branches in that I want, I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm going to lightly just kind of lift out some areas to kind of muddle this background. This is just a wadded up paper towel. And when I'm done lifting out what I want to lift out, I'm going to allow this to completely dry. I like this technique because it gives kind of like a marbled looking background. So now that the painting is completely dry, I'm going to lift out this branch that was coming up from the center. I didn't like it and it was throwing me off, so I scrubbed it out and then lifted it with a paper towel. And now I'm just using some Payn'es Gray to make some bluer branches, because I have the Van Dyke Brown and the Payn'es Gray darker branches, but I wanted some blue branches in here, so I'm just going to add them in with some watered down Payn'es Gray. Once these branches are done, I'm going to let this dry completely again. So for the center of these flowers, I'm using that mixture of the Van Dyke Brown and the Payn'es Gray to make the centers of these flowers a dark color, because the center of plum blossoms are pretty dark. Now I'm just mixing up some of that burnt sienna and I'm going out on the edge of that dark color in the center, and I'm going to use some water to blend out that burnt sienna. Now that the centers of the flowers are done, I'm using that Payn'es Gray and Van Dyke Brown as a shading color for these petals. And so I'm just going to add in some shading for each petal and try to give some more definition to these flowers. This point of the painting is what I call the ugly stage, and I'm sure as a watercolor artist you've heard other artists talk about the ugly stage in watercolor. This is the stage where you look at the painting and you're like, ugh, it's terrible. But trust me, if you push through this part of the painting, the end product will be so much better than what it looks like right now. So just have some patience and follow through with the rest of the painting and you'll see where it comes out. If you're a fellow artist and you have some tips and tricks of how to get through the ugly stage of a painting, please feel free to leave any tips that you may have in the comment section below so that we can pass on those ideas to other artists that might be struggling so that we can help out each other. The rest of this painting is pretty self-explanatory. I'm just going to use varying shades of burnt sienna, the Van Dyke Brown, and the Payn'es Gray to finish up these flowers. And then I'm going to use the Payn'es Gray and the Van Dyke Brown to add in the stem, the main stem of this branch. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave any questions you may have or comments in the description box below. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this painting and that you have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching, everyone.